Hi, I'm Shawna Lampi-Legaree, and we are broadcasting live from Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, Canada. Welcome to Changing Seasons, my very first virtual art show. The whole thing is virtual because, well, the pandemic just makes it so that we have to be more flexible. So the whole show is virtual on my website. Yes. The website is live, so if you're interested in buying a painting or seeing the paintings up close and personal, just head on over to my website, dancingravenstudio.ca, and there's a header that says Changing Seasons. Click on that and you can go there. I also have cards for sale on that same page, just near the bottom, and you can order a set of cards. Shipping is included with the cards. It's not included with the paintings. That turned out to be too complex to try and figure out what the shipping was, so all you're paying for is the painting. There's no frames with any of my paintings. They all come unframed, which means for the watercolors, I can roll them up into a tube and send them to you, wherever you are in the world, with great ease. If you are not comfortable buying on the website, my husband Ian is by the phone, and our phone number is area code 867-920-4290. You can see it at the bottom of the screen here, and you can find it at the bottom of my website at dancingravenstudio.ca. The phone number is there in case you didn't get it. I would like you to say hi and tell me where you're watching from, because, you know, by now I have been in solitude painting for a long time, and I'm really about hugs when people come in, and I'm not going to get any of that. So leave your comment and tell me where you're from, and I will come back and get a virtual hug from you later, right after this is done. I would also invite you to ask questions. As I'm going along, I'm going to be talking about the pieces. I'm going to talk about the inspiration and what I did for designing it and what I was thinking about. So if you have any questions, just leave a comment, and Ian, my husband, will be checking the comments, and he will let me know if there's any questions. And if we don't get through all the questions this evening, then I will answer them afterwards, because I will be directly on both YouTube and Facebook to say hello to everybody right after the broadcast. So let's get going. The first painting we're going to look at is a blue jay at crystal. It's 16 by 20 inches, which is 40 by 50 centimeters. It's a painting, I was raised in northwestern Ontario, both my husband and I were, and blue jays are part of the environment there. And I always loved the flash of blue and how pretty they are. And I always find it interesting that the pretty birds are the ones that don't sound very nice. It's kind of interesting. So when I designed this painting, I have three different ways that I could design a painting. I can look at it in landscape and have a small, tiny little bird. I can put the bird in habitat and have the bird smaller and more habitat around it, or I can do what is called a bird portrait. And this is a bird portrait. It's a close-up of the bird. When I do the snow, I'm trying to convey fluffiness, which was really interesting when you think about fluffy is a texture word. It's not actually a visual word. I know what fluffy feels like, but I want to create that illusion of fluffy. So I took a brush, I kind of cut it up a bit, really mashed it down on and really ground it. And then I started to build the snow layer after layer, starting with dark and moving lighter and lighter and lighter to create that illusion of fluffiness. So we're going to move over to a watercolor. So this watercolor is called Delicata. In Latin, that means delicate, and in Italian, that means gentle. And I have Jackie from Newfoundland to thank for the name. I don't know if you're aware of this, but on Facebook, I do name this painting competitions, contests, and then the best part is I get to send pictures, cards to people as little gifts to say thank you, because that's the part I like the best, and that I get a really great name. So with that name, Delicata, and I'm thinking, here we are in Yellowknife, it gets down to -50 in the winter and -45 for weeks on end, and that plant survives the winter here and happily grows. So it's really not that gentle or that delicate, but it seemed like a perfect name for it. When I was designing this piece, I was really thinking about, because we know that delphiniums are long and spiky and they have lots of little florets, and I wanted to bring in a more intimate look, a closer look at the delphiniums, and enjoy each of the petals and how they are moving. When I paint flowers, I'm thinking about what the sun is doing. Is there cast shadows? Is there shadows just because it's turning away from the light? And I want to capture that luminescent look of the petal because the light travels through it. This painting is 16 by 20. So the next one we're going to do is we're going to get Ollie to come on over here. And I want to thank Ollie and Louisa for being here and helping me tonight. This is a 16 by 16 inch painting called Warbler Building a Nest. It's part of a 3-part series. It's the last one of the 3-part series. And when I was I was watching her build the nest, because she builds the nest and he brings the treats. And she brought all kinds of stuff to put in. And I loved the fact that she's in shade so that if it's raining, the leaves are covering her and will protect the little ones and her from the rain as much as possible. This is not totally a bird, it's kind of a bit of a habitat one because you're seeing more beside just the bird. The birch tree, I found really interesting. There was very little direct sunlight on this particular image. And I like the touches of sunlight that are just little bits and lots of the shade. When I was designing it, I did remove leaves because there were leaves in the way that didn't really add to it. And I really looked at the texture of the bark and really had fun with the nest and with the bark and with her. And she is actually a little stressed. That's why she's turned her head towards me. And I left immediately after I took this picture because I thought that's not my job, is to stress the birds. I just want to watch them and not leave them feeling stressed. So we're gonna walk on over here and Holly's gonna get over here to a painting called Nana's Favorite. And we're gonna do a little, I'm gonna talk about it. It's a 16 by 20 and it's already sold, so I'll just let you know that that one's already gone. And we're gonna do a little slideshow presentation that I can talk through. Okay, so the first one you're seeing, the background is done. I've covered it with a masking fluid, and I've done 6 or 7 or 8 layers to get that black really nice. And I've started with the oranges and yellows. And you think, it's a red flower. Why oranges and yellows? I want that light to come through because watercolor is transparent. I start laying down the reds, and I primarily am focused in on the flower petals, but I am starting on the leaves. The flower petals are nearly complete, and now you can see I'm really focusing in on the leaves. And it's coming along quite nicely, and I've got the deep darks of the red, and there is the final completed image. So are there any questions, Ian? Are you seeing any?
Lots of hellos from all over the place, coming from the States, across Canada.
Awesome, thank you. So over here, I'm going to turn on this light now. Just hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, we'll give Ollie a little bit more light. Over here I have 2 paintings that early August in 2020, I was out around Niven, and the sun was low enough that this area was in shade, but the light off of the building made the water look like liquid gold. And how do you paint liquid gold? So I did the first one, which is called Gilded Shimmer 1, and the other one's Gilded Shimmer 2. And I played with the colors, and I did the first one, and then I came and did the second one. When I did it, I was really thinking the water is light to dark, so it's darker in the bottom and lighter at the top. The gold shimmery is just paint. It's the illusion I'm trying to create is the look of gold on water. I have one more that I could not get to painting, and it's mostly just gold with little bits of blue. So watch for that at some point. Summer's Radiance. Peonies. Oh, they are so beautiful. Their petals are irregular, they're undulating, the light passes through it, and then there's areas where it's you know, in shadow, and you've got the cast shadows, and it is just beautiful. I just loved painting this flower. And it's all the favorite colors I have. I love pink. So I did a background that is sort of a darker green, and it allows the pink to sort of pop up. And there is one leaf, but it is pretty much the same green as the background because it seemed to fit. I didn't want the leaf to stand out hugely. And, you know, capturing areas where the sun is passing through and you hardly have any color at all. And some of those take 5 or 6 or 7 passes to get it that light, like to keep it that light, because I put on so little paint and mostly just water to build it up carefully.
Shawna, why did you do the reflection darker on the bird?
Oh, okay. Question. Why did I do the reflection darker? Well, the water, when you are looking at it, is this way, and the bird is upright, so the bird is lighter, and always the water reflection is darker. And all water reflections is always a bit darker. And it's one of the things, if you know that, then when you go to do it, you remember that it has to be at least a value darker than what it is above, because you're not looking at it the same way. Thank you for the question. That was awesome. So the next painting we're looking at here is Sora at Niven. Now, and it is 24 inches by 24 inches. It is a bird that I really love. It has this amazing song, a sound that it makes, a call that it makes. So you hear the Sora, but you hardly ever see it. And I was walking around Niven, And it was a cloudy day. You can see that it was a cloudy day because the water is quite gray. And I saw a little bit of movement, and I knew that there was a break in the reeds just before. So I quickly moved back, and I got ready, and I went click, and it came in, and I clicked, and then the third click, I got the feet as it just sort of hopped through there quite quickly. And I love the patterning of these birds and that yellowbeak. I mean, they're just these cutest little rails birds. They're a part of the rail family. And they've come all this distance to have their families. Now, I have not seen little ones. Hi, Margaret Ann Woodside. Margaret Ann her and her friends have seen the little babies with them. I have not been there at the right time. Someday I'm going to be there at the right time when they're out and about after they've grown.
You're so lucky to see the Sora.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it is. It is a real treat to see the Sora.
Hello from the Caribbean.
Oh, hello.
Francine and Jim.
Oh, hi, Francine. Glad that you could make it all the way from the Caribbean. We could use some of your heat. So, this painting, I'm going to leave that on there. We're going to move up higher onto the painting, and hopefully you don't see that. This painting, I did something new that I had never done before, and I did a color study. I've never done a color study before. I just paint, and then I'm not happy sometimes with how things kind of went. And I have to thank Julie Beck for this idea. And I watched her video. She's part of my Sunday group, so is Francine. And I thought, well, you know, I spent a lot of time on these. I'm going to try this color study. And what I discovered is I liked the sky, so I did exactly that on the big one. And I used an ultramarine blue. And I brought the chroma down, and you gray it down with a neutral gray color, a paint, to bring it down. And I brought it too far, and it wasn't blue enough, and it wasn't the right blue, because ultramarine blue has a little bit of purple. It leans towards the purple. So then when I went to work on the big one over here, I changed that simply by mixing 50% ultramarine blue and 50% cerulean blue, which is on the sky. I'm going to put that back here so it stays in place. And I was able, with the color study, to kind of figure out what to do with the background. The background had all of these buildings and sort of chaos, and I didn't want, and it was really brightly lit by the sun, and I didn't really want that. And I get to be the artist, and so my design choice was to focus in on the Chris Hadfield sculpture with him, with his guitar. And then as soon as I saw this, so in 2020 at Snow King Castle, they had the snow sculptures, and the theme was space. And as soon as I took a picture, I saw this and took a picture, I knew this was going to be a painting. And I knew it was going to be with ptarmigan. So I got a new program called Affinity, and I could just put the ptarmigans in place, and that was like cool. It was really great. It helped me a lot. So I made a lot of decisions with my color study that helped my painting to be far more successful. And it is 24 by 36. It's quite a large painting. It's quite dramatic. And yeah, I even did send it to Chris Hadfield so he could see it. And I heard back from his staff that he liked it and that they thought it was pretty cool.
Do you do all your own? Do you take all your own pictures?
I take all my own pictures, yes. I don't work from other people's images at all, partially because I want to have the experience of it. When I'm working from my own pictures, I can tell you the story about where I was and what I was doing and what was happening and what the weather was like, because I was there.
How do you combine the pictures then to make a painting?
Well, using Affinity, I was able to go around each of these images and then just copy and paste them over and size them to the size I wanted. I can't explain it because that's technology. I explain painting better. But it made it so that I could print the whole thing together because I work site size, which means I had an image printed of this exact same size. And I have a slideshow for this one that Louisa is going to start here. She has to hit the start button because sometimes you have to hit the little round thing that says, is it started? Okay, I'm just going to go. Just 1 second. Okay. Come in, Chris. Okay, why is that not? Where is that? Oh, there, right. I guess it was selected, sorry. Okay, so here we are with the very start. And I'm putting on the very first layer of the color. And you can see I'm just building it up. I have put burnt sienna as my base underneath so that I can see what's happening. And I haven't fully made the decision about how I'm going to manage that hill in the background, so I kind of just leave it as that burnt sienna for a long time. Now I've got the sky done in here and the trees on the top of the hill. And then you can see I'm creating form. I'm doing the second pass, which is a much slower pass, like it takes much more time. And every picture you're seeing the sculpture become less ghost-like and more solid looking as I'm rendering form using values. And I'm only using the one color on all the different values. And now we're on to the birds. Now I am almost 6 feet tall, so painting down low is not going to work really well for me. So I flip the image over and the painting over to work on the birds, because it doesn't matter if it's up or down. I'm working on shapes. I'm not working on, and this is the final finished painting. Okay, are we back? We're back now. So this painting, do you guys, if you're in Yellowknife, you remember that on May 15th, I was out, this is May 19th, on May 15th, I was out at Range Lake, and there were snow machines running the little bit of water and onto the ice. It made me very cranky, actually, because it was May 15th, and that's so wrong. So this is May 19th, so things are starting to warm up, and I have been trying to get pictures of pintail ducks for quite a while, but they don't nest at Niven, and they're pretty shy ducks. Anyway, I was out for a walk with a friend, I ran home, got my camera, came back, spent an hour and a half with them, took a lot of pictures, and they did all kinds of things. So when I was choosing this design, one of the things, if you were on my newsletter, a few newsletters ago, I sent out 3 images that showed you. The first image was how dark the reeds actually were. By May 19th, the sun is very high and very harsh, and cameras struggle with that information. If you go towards the light to make the light correct, then everything is too dark. If you go towards the dark to make the dark correct, everything is all the lights blow out. And so I came with my program, with the Affinity program, and I lightened it by almost 70% to get it so that the reeds would back up and the ducks would come forward. Now, my primary duck that I wanted to have you first notice is the male. And this painting is called Genteel Elegance because he is so elegant. And it is 20 by 24 inches. And of course it has water with all those abstract shapes. I often think I'm an abstract painter that when you back up, it looks like a real thing. So the female is there, they're just paddling through the water, waiting for spring to really arrive. And the snow is rotting, so I'm having to figure out how to make the snow look like it's rotting. And the other thing is the snow was actually lighter than the duck, but I wanted, as a painter, I get to choose where the lightest part of the painting was, and that is on the duck and on some of the reeds. So the snow I actually darkened down so that it wouldn't be in competition with that male northern pintail duck. But isn't he just beautiful? I mean, my goodness. And all in browns. That's one thing Ian noticed. All my birds are brown because a lot of the birds here are. I'm going to move that back. So this next painting is called Unfolding Dawn. It is a full-size sheet of watercolor. It's 22 by 30 inches, so it's very big and dramatic. If you're on my Instagram, I say I paint summer sunshine, and this is the epitome of painting summer sunshine. My friend Janice grows dahlias in her backyard, and they are just beautiful. So you can see that there's light coming through from the behind. There's dramatic cast shadows. There's areas where the petal is yellow, but the cast shadow darkens it so much, and it's so dramatic. This is a happy painting. This is a painting that when you see it on your wall, you will say, "Ah, summer will come again," and it is beautiful. Oh, I am very pleased with that painting. Move this light out of the way. This is the interesting part about doing a live stream, is the lighting. So this is the second last painting, and it is horned grebes. So I did the fledglings, and I'm not sure if they weren't these fledglings because it was so much later that it could have been from this brood of horned grebes. Now, not often do you get grebes or get birds that nest in a place that you can go and just sit down and sit still, and it's right there and easy to take pictures of. It was pretty amazing. And one day I was sitting, and a young girl who's about 5 or 6 years old came over. I heard the male that she was with, her grandfather, I learned later, say, "Go and see what she's doing." So she came over, and I showed her on my camera what I was looking at. So when I pointed, she could see it right away. And in this spring, when I was out, the grandfather saw me and said, "My granddaughter is still talking about when she saw the baby grebes." And so they're just waiting for the other parent, because I can't tell you if that's male or female. The grebes are not, there's not a noticeable difference for the horned grebes that I'm aware of, is waiting for a meal to come. And they're just waiting for the other parent to bring them food and to feed them.
My son wants to know what that bird eats.
That bird eats all sorts of little bugs.
Repeat the question.
Oh, my grandson wants to know what that bird eats. This bird eats lots of bugs, Burke, and it's forever going underneath the water and getting grubs and whatever is underneath the water. I've seen them eat pretty big bloodsuckers. Yeah, those little beings are pretty good at eating really well. So before we go to the next one, I actually want to go to the last slideshow that I have, and then we will go to the next painting. And you'll have seen this painting, and you'll have wondered why I painted it. So here we go. So it's the end of August, it's during migration, and in the backyard is a sharp-shinned hawk. And now it's looking very intently trying to find something to eat. And then it goes up to where you can see the peanuts, and the squirrel comes to visit. And that squirrel got very insistent This is all happening as we're out the dining room window taking pictures. I was very insistent about this bird leaving. And then you see the blur at the top, and look at the hawk. It was just like on cue. And the next picture, it's starting to turn and it looks like a stealth fighter, and then it's gone. But it wasn't successful because it's a young one. It took about 3 attempts. So then it went into the trees and it just waited. So we went into my office and we took some pictures, and then we came back out, and my backyard is really busy. So we have 3 young fledgling crows come, and the mother was sitting on the telephone wires watching. And then because the bird is in the tree, the hawk is, the little house sparrows come back, but some of them are not so sure about this. So they're hiding. And I knew this was coming, and I still couldn't catch it. So this is the hawk after it's caught the bird. And then it's going to leave to go and eat in private. Okay. So now let's go back to this painting. So I have to tell you, you saw in the images that I didn't have, it wasn't in front of the rocks. And I did this with one image and with another image. It's before I got this program, this affinity program, to help me with my putting images together. I painted this, turn to me. I painted this because my mother told me to. And that's why I painted this. My mother was insistent. She just thought it was the coolest image and that I had to paint it. And so, Mom, thank you for helping me along to paint this painting. So it's a 16 by 20 and it is called Light Snack. It's a light snack. It's not, and the bird stays about 4 or 5 days in our backyard and then goes. I didn't see one this fall, but other years I have, and it shops quite well. So I feed the little birds to feed the big birds. So I want to say, let's get back so that, yeah, we have some space. I want to say thank you for coming. Thank you for giving your time up this evening, and I hope you had a glass of wine. I'm going to go and have one. I was supposed to carry one with me and I forgot completely. I want to say thank you to Ian and to Louisa and Ollie, and I want to say thank you to anyone who's purchased work and to everyone who's on my cheering squad. I really appreciate all your support. And I'm going to come on and answer all the comments, and we'll see you another time. Thanks for coming.